Hello Wanderers and welcome back to the Outer Worlds. We finally reached the geothermal plant, and we now have to face the tough decision of whose power to cut off. If we help Adelaide and her people over at the botanical labs, then that means that we'll be dooming everybody in Edgewater, which is a much larger population. If we help Edgewater, then that means we'll be extinguishing the last hope that the deserters have. It isn't an easy decision, but there is one way to have both sides be happy, or at least make the minor sacrifice. But first things first, we need to divert that power if we want to get a regulator. So let's head inside and kill some rogue robots. There are no signs of human life inside the plant, but there is definitely a lot of robotic life trying to end you. Luckily, we have Ludwig's trusty Mag to Zap to take care of them all. But when we enter this little chamber, who do we find but an old friend?
Self-diagnostics complete. Navigation systems operational. Combat systems operational. It's not the best choice. It's the spacer's choice.
Jeremy, you made it out of the junkyard.
All systems fully operational. Return journey successfully completed. Spacer's Choice would like to thank you for complying with your duties.
Why aren't you attacking me?
Hostile actions towards Spacer's Choice mechanics are contrary to logical directive. Conclusion: all hostile automechanicals must be defective in compliance with Spacer's Choice policy. All defective automechanicals must be permanently dismantled. Please allow me to assist.
Let me get this straight. You want to help me destroy other mechanicals?
Affirmative. Mechanicide protocols loaded. Awaiting confirmation.
Confirmation granted. I like the sound of that. One thing to note is that you should be careful about not killing Jeremy if you want to keep him alive, because he does look exactly like all the other robots in the facility.
System
Incoming!
I don't know how well bullets would have done against these things, but this Mag to Zap modification on this weapon has definitely taken care of them pretty quickly. Thank you, Ludwig. As we further explore the plant, we get the feeling that something is just not right. Why were there so many unarmed, unguarded employees caught off guard by the revolution of these robots? What caused these robots to rebel in the first place? As we further research the terminal in the facility, we realize that Spacer's Choice may have had a hand in hurting and killing all of these workers. We also realize that one solitary worker, Higgins, may have actually escaped and may be hiding in the plant. Let's go search for him. According to the log, The plant's management decided to replace the security guards at the location with automechanicals as a way to reduce costs and increase plant safety. A plan that backfired pretty terribly. After going insane, the mechanicals killed everything in their path, including the chief of security, S. Tanaka. But within the deep red guts of the plant, we hear some clanging and muttering, and we realize that we may have found poor Higgins, hiding away and waiting for the day when somebody comes to find him. One fun fact about Terra 2, this particular geothermal plant draws its power from a volcano in this location. Isn't that neat? If you recall, we've also been tasked by Ludwig to find a valuable module for him in this plant. Ah, there's our man. Calm down. I'm not gonna hurt you.
You can talk? The Phantoms never talked before. I knew I shouldn't have eaten that sprat raw. See, Higgins? This is why you must always boil your sprats before ingesting.
You're not imagining me.
Of course. Do excuse me. I experience brief flashes of mania during which I am visited by the phantoms of my imagination. Chester D. Higgins. The D stands for definitely not insane. I use it as a reminder.
How long have you been down here?
Hard to say. By my reckoning, Higgins has been here somewhere between 2 weeks and forever. My recollection's a touch fuzzy these days.
What exactly do you do here?
Oh, Higgins has been many things over the years. Sprat Wrangler, Saltuna Critic, Aetherwave Personality, Chairman of the Board, Galactic Defender, Sisty Pig Tycoon. I've come a long way for someone who started off as a simple engineer right here in this plant.
You were an engineer?
I specialized in automechanicals, drones, sentries, repaired them, maintained, upgraded, did it all from my old workroom just over in the next section.
If you worked on the mechanicals, you must know a way to stop them.
Look, I don't want to fall into any trouble with the mechanicals. If they wise up to our plans, they will come for us. With prodding irons.
I can deal with mechanicals. I made it this far, didn't I?
You know, you remind me of myself back when I was an intergalactic adventurer.
Yeah, before you took a bullet in the knee.
Mechanicals lost their bolts. Opened fire on anything that moved. It was pandemonium.
And you weren't killed?
I was on cleaning duty at the time. My old boss had me scrubbing pipes when the killing started. So, as usual, I missed out.
How have you been living down here?
Jimmy'd opened the vending machines. That lasted a good couple of months. Eventually, I had to resort to more unconventional means of filling my insides.
Any idea where I can find a logic module?
Funny thing, I was working on a logic module just before the mayhem started. Security chief found me and confiscated the logic module.
I wanted to ask you something else.
The tail. Definitely start with the tail. If you're feeling adventurous, the ears are a particular delicacy.
I'll be excusing myself now, actually. We quickly find what we're looking for on the body of the security chief upstairs, and we now have the option to reprogram all the mechanicals in the factory so that they'll attack each other and not us. Although, I don't know why it matters because we've already exterminated them. Now it's finally time to divert that power so that we can grab our regulator and get our ship off the ground. We'll need to activate 3 switches and then head over to the main control room. On our way to redirecting the power, Parvati stops us to share a few opinions of her
Sorry,
own.
that just sort of came out all at once. Edgewater's hurting. We've been losing workers year after year, and corporate hardly ever sends replacements. There's barely enough Saltuna to fill our bellies anymore. But the town's got some good people in it. Decent, hard-working folk just living their lives the only way they know how. They don't deserve to be punished.
The deserters are a community too. I can't just destroy what they've built.
Miss McDevitt's been using corpses in her fertilizer. The thought just makes my skin crawl. Sure, she's found a solution, but it ain't exactly pleasant. It's plain to see she's made the Vale a better place. Fed the hungry, tended the sick. Gave a home to those that had none. But Miss McDevitt delights in Edgewater's suffering. She wants to hurt the town. Do you really want to be party to that kind of hatred?
Reed tells me Edgewater's going to die without workers in power.
Well, that sure sounds like Mr. Thompson. If he was standing here, I imagine he'd remind us of how we're all one big, happy Spacer's Choice family. In Mr. Thompson's eyes, those deserters are still part of the Spacer's Choice family. The family must work together in order to survive. I hate to say it, but I think Mr. Thompson's got a point. Unless those deserters come back, Edgewater's as good as dead. Cutting off their power might be the only way.
I see your point. I'm ready to make a decision.
Sorry, I didn't mean to babble on like that. I felt like I had to say something.
I'm glad you did. I like hearing from you.
Really? I mean, wow. Thanks. No one's ever told me those words in that order.
Oh, Parvati. Well, I think it's clear that the choice we have to make is sending the power to Edgewater and then trying to negotiate with either Reed or Adelaide for a return or maybe another option. We'll just have to wait and see. And just like that, we've redirected the power, and it's time to go grab our regulator and face a very angry Adelaide. Being that we are a very cunning individual, we may be able to use our charisma to talk one of the leaders into caving. Over in the gardens, the deserters wait anxiously in the dark.
I know, I'm trying to think. I don't know what you did to talk some sense into Zoe, but I appreciate it.
I wouldn't call it talking sense into her, but it's no problem.
Keep your wits about you, friend. I don't know how much longer we'll last without power.
I'm sorry, buddy.
Don't see why Thomas can't just get the generator up and running. Something I can help you with?
No thanks, Stefan. Hey, Zoe.
Home is where the heart is. Marauders took that saying a little too literally.
Oh my god, you crazy girl. Alright, that's enough stalling. Let's go face Adelaide now. The biolab is empty, and that's because Adelaide is already waiting for us right next to the regulator.
That's the thing about growing old. Your eyes start to fail. Elsewise, I would have seen you for the snake that you are, chopped you into pieces and roasted you on a spit. This is all you're doing. Cutting off my power, killing off my garden. Without refrigeration, my food will spoil, and my flock will starve. I want to ask you this in private, away from the eyes of my flock, so they do not see me lose my temper. Tell me, why did you do it?
This isn't personal, Adelaide. I need that power regulator.
You killed my garden, destroyed my community, sentenced my flock to a lifetime of slavery in Edgewater for a power regulator. Well, shit, I wish it was personal. Go talk to Grace and Thomas. Look them in the eye and tell them their life here is over, and the only thing left to do is go back to Edgewater. This is now your responsibility. And you tell Reed Thompson that I will never return to Edgewater. I would rather die among my flowers than live under his management.
Well, we're not gonna let that happen either. Just give me some time to deal with Reed. Well, heck if I don't feel guilty about leaving them in the dark. Before we go and talk to Reed, we do want to stop by the Edgewater Sick House and talk to some of the patients there.
I appreciate the company and all, but you really ought to leave. You don't want to be seen around me.
Why not?
Because I'm sick. You don't want to associate with people in the sick house. We're not worth your time. I'm in about as much trouble as I can be. No reason you ought to be tarnished by association. People are gonna talk.
I don't mind.
I don't know which company you work for, but if it's Spacer's choice, boss can still write you up for fraternizing with an incompetent worker. Maybe you don't know this, but there's a real simple reason you don't talk to the plagued. You don't want what we've got.
I've got training. I could take a look at you.
Don't. Please. I could get into a lot of trouble.
But you obviously need help.
That's kind of you to say, I suppose. But I don't need help. What I need is to understand my own folly. Company always tells us, weak spirits lead to weak bodies. If I didn't want to fall sick with plague, maybe I should have worked harder. Maybe I should have taken more pride in my work.
I've got some Adrena time. It's yours if you want.
You've got Adrena time? How? No, I don't want to know. Could be you stole it. Could be you're trying to test me. See if I'm going to violate company policy. I'm feeling a touch faint. If you don't mind, I'd like to be alone for a spell.
I think we know what to do with that medicine that we stumbled upon for Abernathy. I've got that medicine you were
Thanks.
after.
I'll see to it that this medicine gets to the people who need it. Here, something for your trouble. Nothing personal, but I hope we never do business together again. Don't want to make a habit of consorting with smuggler types.
Never? That's a little harsh. At least leave me something to remember you by.
You do have some cheek on you. Lucky for you, I kept a little contingency fee in case you tried to negotiate with me.
Yeah, I'm a pretty good negotiator. I'm curious, who are you going to give that medicine to?
Somebody deserving. Silas on account of him being out in the cold. Amelia seeing how she's around people all the time. Anybody in the sick room?
That's what I like to hear. What do you do here?
Oh, I'm an actuary. That means I keep tabs on a worker's living expenses. How much it costs to feed, clothe, shelter, bury, and replace your average human worker. Technically, I'm employed by the Spacer's Choice Department of Human Resources.
Well, it was a pleasure, Esther.
I don't want any trouble.
Esther said she was going to distribute some medicine to those who needed it.
Esther's got medication? How? Did the boss get a new shipment? I'm sorry, it's just I thought we couldn't spare the medicine. Nope, I'm sorry. I can't accept help from Esther. If I deserved treatment, I wouldn't be here.
You're wrong.
Why?
You're not doing yourself any favors, punishing yourself like this.
That is exactly what I've been doing. Not my place to dole out punishment. Not even against myself. All right, you made your point. If Esther offers to treat me, I won't turn her down.
Good, because you really sound like you need it. Alright, time to talk to Reed and see if we can convince him to make some changes before we leave this planet.
This is a fine day, friend. Power flows through our town like a cool stream of water. I trust Adelaide's people have seen their way to reason. So, when can I expect them back at their posts?
I spoke to Adelaide, but she won't come back as long as you're here.
Then we are at an impasse. Stewardship over this town has been entrusted to me by Spacer's Choice. I am not perfect. I have made my share of mistakes, but I have done my best for this town.
A change of leadership might be what this town needs.
I am a Spacer's Choice man. My father was a Spacer's Choice man. Edgewater may not look like much to some buttoned-up freelancer, but it is my home.
Adelaide's people aren't getting sick with the plague.
I don't believe you. Plague's a reality of life. Best treatment is a good work ethic.
This town doesn't need anything but salt tuna. Of course you're gonna get sick.
You are disparaging our parent company, and it is not appreciated. We are a Spacer's Choice salt tuna cannery. We eat salt tuna here, and only salt tuna.
What exactly are you putting in these cans?
Processed, liquefied, retextured salt tuna rendered in a chemical bath, of course. Well, mostly salt tuna. We've been experiencing a salt tuna shortage, you see. So we've had to improvise. We've added wood chips, some mushrooms, bit of sand, tossed some canid bits in our processor once. It all tastes like salt tuna in the end.
That can't be healthy.
Health is a state of mind, friend. Afflictions in one's body are reflections of afflictions in one's work ethic and attitude.
Adelaide has found a way to grow things by using corpses in her soil.
Adelaide has been using dead bodies in her fertilizer? Come to think of it, that's a stroke of brilliance. What a remarkably efficient solution. Recycling Spacer's Choice property long after its date of expiration. I was wondering about those missing bodies in Silas's cemetery.
This town needs Adelaide, but she won't come back as long as you're here.
So Adelaide wants me gone. Trade my life for the life of the town. You understand what she's doing. If I leave town, I'm as good as dead. If I stay, Edgewater will die of attrition. Adelaide has discovered some secret cure for the plague, and she is holding my town ransom.
Do what you want. I'm not the one running this town into the ground.
You're right. I am being obstinate. If the best thing I can do for this town is to stand down, then stand down I shall. If Adelaide's found a way to feed her people and cure the plague, then she deserves this office more than I do. I won't stand in her way. My life here is ended. Give me a little time to settle my affairs. I'm sure Adelaide will be glad to see the back of me.
That's noble of you. What are your plans?
A couple months ago, I might have put in for a transfer. It's a big colony. Spacer's Choice has other towns. Now, I couldn't show my face in any of them.
Why not?
No such thing as an honorable resignation. Suppose I could find a place outside the walls, or put in for early retirement.
You won't last a day outside the walls, you know.
I don't know. I could see myself lasting a week.
You don't have to do this.
I do. Adelaide's found a cure for the plague, and she knows how to tend to crop. She's what this town needs.
This can't be easy for you. I'm sorry.
I have always tried to do right by my town. It has never been easy.
Take care, Mr. Thompson.
I think you did the rightest thing you could sending the power back to Edgewater. A lot of people would have suffered otherwise. People I care for. Even if they ain't care much for me.
Parvati, you're easy to care for. This means we can finally return to the deserters with some good news.
Everybody keeps staring at me. It's not my fault the power's dead.
Sorry, Thomas, but today is your lucky day. I found one of those data pads for you.
Really? Well, which one?
Part 1. Found it at the Center Archives.
Look at that! Building a computing machine out of Spectrum potatoes, a primer. I'm just glad it survived all these years. 2 whole data pads? Be still my beating heart. Oh, almost forgot your payment.
Hold on, I've got one more for you.
Well, don't keep me in suspense.
The elusive Part 3. Somebody stashed it away in the old geothermal plant.
The geothermal plant? Now that is just incredible! You really went exploring down there? Adelaide always told us it was swarming with hostile mechanicals. That's a complete set. All 3 parts. I'm gonna be the greatest engineer Halcyon's ever seen. Aside from you, Miss Parvati, I swear, I'll do you proud.
I'm glad we could help, Thomas.
I've been saving something for you. Just a little contraption I found. Should fit right into your outfit.
Aw, thank you, Thomas. I always wanted an electrocharged surface mod.
We must tend to what remains of the town and carry on with our lives as best we may. You're vexing to me, you know? Injuring us with one hand, helping us with the other. Here, I'm giving you something to leave us be. It's a ransom, you understand, not a reward.
I'm vexing to a lot of people, doll. But I know Edgewater is better off with you running it.
You telling me you did all this just to put me in charge of Edgewater? Stranger, you are some kind of twisted. I might turn that old cannery into a garden. Got ourselves a whole cemetery bursting with bodies. I need some time to gather my personals. Long walk back to Edgewater. Got a considerable burden to carry.
Be well, Adelaide.
Few more nights like this and we're all turning feral.
I'm glad we could help the deserters, and I'm looking forward to seeing that greenhouse in the cannery.
One of us want to go see what happened?
Keep your wits about you.
Adelaide's okay.
Standing around the campfire is nice and all, until one of us starts singing. Something I can help you with?
Just saying goodbye. Now it's time to patch up our baby and take flight. It feels like ages since we've landed on Terra 2. But really, in our short time here, we've helped many people and we've really made a change, leaving our footprint on this community. And we've even made a friend.
Is this your ship? Oh my stars, she is just so handsome! Does she have a name yet? What's her drive model? Oh, gosh. Listen to me babbling. When I was in Edgewater, I dreamed of flying on a real ship, working on a real engine, belonging to a proper crew. I'm the only decent mechanic Edgewater's got, but Every time I think of going back, I get this sinking feeling.
I can understand not wanting to go back. You didn't seem happy there.
Well, it's kind of you to say that. And you're right. I wasn't happy. I want to ask you something, and you can say no. But can I come with you? I could tend to your engine. I know my G-valves from my catalyzers, and I can keep your ship singing. And if you ever need a pair of eyes watching your back, I can do that too. What do you think?
I'd be glad to have you along. Pick a cabin and it's yours.
Yes! I mean, thanks. You won't regret this, ma'am. Captain. I can call you Captain now. Ha! I got a captain.
Yes, you do, cutie pie. Now, let's go.
Well, I certainly am looking forward to flying on a ship named the Unreliable. I'll just head upstairs and claim a room.
Okay, buddy. Welcome aboard. Let's go talk to Ada.
Captain, I have detected that Edgewater's power supply is now optimal. I applaud your willingness to invest your time in the local community. What can I do for you, Captain?
I have a power regulator.
Do you know how to install a power regulator?
Yeah, I know what I'm doing.
Outstanding, Captain. Your aptitude for engineering will prove invaluable in the event of another catastrophic engine failure. Our engine room is located behind you. Across the cargo bay, up the ladders.
Thanks, Ada. I'll be right back. You gotta love that sound, right, Parvati?
What can I do for you, Captain?
I've installed the power regulator.
All systems are operating within acceptable parameters. I am prepared to bring the Unreliable into low-altitude orbit. This should prove an adequate test of our flight capabilities.
Let's get out of here. And against all odds, the Unreliable takes flight. Thank you so much for joining me in another episode of The Outer Worlds. I'm really looking forward to exploring this galaxy together. Likes, comments, and subscriptions are always appreciated. And until the next one, Spacers, stay safe and happy wanderings!